Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. WeAwake community, those of you who have been with us on this journey, and for those of you who may be new, my name is John Dupuy, and these lovely people you see here are part of the WeAwake team, and that help create and get this technology, meditation technology, out into the world to do good things and to help in our healing and growth. And I like to think our evolution, our conscious evolution, and which is different, the evolution of our consciousness. So today we are going to do a profound meditation program, commonly known as PMP, Tier 3, Track 3. And it is powerful. This is the, this is the heavy lifting. This is the inverted doggy pose in yoga or something. I'm sure, I don't know if there's an inverted one, but anyway, it's really challenging. It's very powerful, and it kind of builds up from 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, blah, up to 3, 3. So we are here today to do this together. And, traditionally I say a few words before we get rolling, and then I'll say a few words afterwards, but let me start with this. And there's one of the old saws about writing. If you can't write or you're stuck, write about what hurts. Find that pain point that can get you going and flowing, because there's a lot of energy in our suffering and pain. So I bring a mixed bag. I bring a heart full of, in some ways, gratitude and joy, and other concern, hurt, pain. And let me share a little bit about what's going on and share from my pain. So hopefully this meditation can be a coming together to heal, to help us metabolize what's going on, and then grow into something that can transcend where we're at, but include where we're at, and come out something better than where we're currently at. And in some of my comments in our newsletters, WeAwake, I recently commented on politics and Trump and QAnon and all of these things. And I've got some really great supportive letters, and I got some really angry letters. How dare you, bring this stuff into the domain of spirituality? And so I don't know, I can't keep it out. It is part of my life and my world. And what is going on in the United States with our divided country, with where we seem to be living in two separate universes, where truth and facts are determined absolutely independently, and there are no standards of what truth is anymore. The post-truth era, I think Ken Wilber wrote back a few years ago. And it's all happening in my world, and my acquaintances, and my family. So this is not something I'm just sitting back and, kind of detached and, going to whatever sources I get my news, get from many sources, and reading all that and making some detached thing. It's going on. And I have seen people that I love and care about basically go nuts because of the Q stuff, the QAnon, and believing all that literally, and the country being taken over by baby blood drinking pedophiles. And we're taken over by China, which controls both houses of Congress and the courts, and they're trying to make us wear masks, so it becomes a subservient robots to the great emerging communist Chinese empire. Rawr, that's a lot. How do you sort through all that, And it has hurt my personal relationships. And for a while I was thinking, well, it's perhaps a lack of education. People were trained, to how to sift through all this stuff, Oh yeah. And the earth is flat. That's a big one too. really? Yeah, it's out there, and people passionately believe this. So my thing was education, if you learn the history of science and the idea that there could have been this great, 1,000-year or more conspiracy from all these cultures that didn't communicate to try to convince us that the world was flat in order to, I don't know, have some fun. I'm not sure, then, yeah. And so NASA is just a fraud, and there's no satellites circling the Earth, and we never went to the moon, and we don't have satellites out in outer space taking pictures of us, and all our telescopes are lying to us, and there's little disc floating all over the universe, I suppose. I don't know what they think they see, but anyway, it's just like, really? And trying not just to be, just to be arrogant and just, are you kidding me? And really struggling with this. And then seeing that same kind of susceptibility to whateverness, or to conspiracy theories, or questioning the basis of our reality based on nothing, has gone into the political realm. And gosh, we're talking with a person, I won't say family member or friend, because I want to protect the people's identities and stuff like that. But I was talking about, it's like we have this one person who thinks that Black people are taking over the United States. They're taking over. And I said, well, they're just like 11% of the population. They're going to take over it's like ridiculous. And this person responded, oh, really? Well, it turned, anyway, I'll share that later. But she said, no, it's actually the Asians that are taking over. There are more Asians, people of Asiatic descent in the United States than anybody else. I go, what? And you really believe this? And so anyway, we went and looked at the results of the last census, which are, estimations, the best of our knowledge. And it's 13% African-American in this country, and Asians, 6%. Yet this person somehow from their world thought that the majority, and about 60% white folks, okay, at this point. So just shocking. And then I, one of the things I've been doing in the pandemic is trying to reach out to old friends around the world, that I hadn't talked to in a while. And I was connected with a person who's very educated, very bright, same thing, had gone down into this conspiracy theory thing, and the whole, vaccinations are I don't know, little cellular nano bots that Microsoft creator, what his name is, trying to put us into order to, I don't know, get it together with the Chinese and take over the world and make us all robots. Really? So anyway, I think so personally, and it hurts. And I'm confused, because we're living in this time where it's like human evolution is strange. We don't just, move as a group to new levels of consciousness. We move parts of us at a time, like a caterpillar. It kind of goes like that. And all the old parts are still there, And I think in our country, we probably thought that, those kind of hillbillies and, stuff where it's, and, we're kind of in this worldwide, we're expanding, getting beyond nationhood and everything's going, and there's progress marches on. And all of a sudden there's this huge eruption from almost 50% of the population in the United States that goes, no, we don't agree with all this stuff. In fact, we feel threatened by all your modernity and post-modernity, okay? It's destroying the world as we knew it. We don't know where we stand anymore. It's taken over Hollywood. It's blah, 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 the sports, everything, and we don't like it. And this thug, this ill-mannered buffoon is our bouncer, Donald Trump. And he's going to save us. And he's God's chosen to save our civilization, to save our culture. And yeah, he's got, he's kind of annoying and insulting and bullying, and, he's got some bad sexual habits and all that stuff, but we don't care because we're so desperate. Okay. Wow. People are scared and they're hurting, So how can we hold the pain of those who are that scared and that hurting and that desperate, and not just say, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Not bullshit. It's their reality. It's affecting our whole world. And at the same time, hold our own ground and re-examine, how do we determine what truth is? Given, one of the persons that had gone down this QAnon thing says, well, I'm just trusting my gut. And I can relate to that because I've done a lot of that. However, there are also other ways that I balance out my intuitions. Does it have anything to do with science? Is there any reality there? Does other people have this experience? Does it connect with the great spiritual traditions of the world and what I learned from the Native American spiritual, all this stuff? I have ways. And then once I have it all together, well, I think this is what I believe at this time, at the best of my knowledge, but I could be wrong, and hold it with some humility. So how do we hold all that? And then I heard recently on a podcast with Jeff Salzman, an old friend of mine who's doing great work, Daily Evolver, check it out. And he said, at this integral level of consciousness, and this is a big one, okay, and it's an ongoing process, is to listen to all those who are in pain at all these different levels of development that we almost viscerally and violently disagree with, hopefully not physically violent, and yet listen with empathy, compassion, and understanding, while expecting no empathy in return. Well, if that ain't the St. Francis prayer, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace brought into the current times. I don't know what it is. It's really beautiful and noble. So given that, what I'm holding in my mind and heart as we descend into this meditation. So let's just, pray and open our hearts and hope that we will come through this together, closer to our ultimate goal of participating in the evolution and co-creating of a beautiful, beautiful universe, and that we can get through these times, and it won't get worse, and it won't get more stratified, and it won't get more disconnected and more tribal and more hateful, and that it has to begin with you and me, with me. Okay. So anyway, Vanessa, let's get this thing rolling. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Well, welcome back, everyone, and happy birthday, Merry Christmas, right? Sorry, it's heavy stuff that I introduced into this, but yeah, I think we're called to confront the times that we live in, and also that realize that meditation is a refuge. You know, it's a place we can go when everything seems to be in very turbulent, confusing, difficult, unsolvable issues, both personally and in a bigger sense. And it's a place we can go and let go of all that for a bit and to reconnect with source, which is really, really good. It's what all the great mystics and teachers have been saying for a long, long time, that connecting with the source by whatever name. Shakespeare said, the rose is still the same. And when we come back from that, then somehow the parts of the very complex, strange machine organism that's coming out seem to be a little more understandable, acceptable, well-oiled, functional. Realization maybe this is transitional. This is how evolution happens. Stress is the mother of evolution. And look how the effects of this last year or so, what we've gone through in the United States and in the whole world with the pandemic and with the isolation and the political turmoil and chaos and you know, we thought, you know, they used to say after the Soviet Empire fell back in the day, for a brief period of time, it was like history's over. Dun, 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 dun. No big competitive, you know, global struggle for dominance going on anymore. Well, I think we might have spoken a little too prematurely, right? And we continue to struggle, but we're all one species, one family, one thing, struggling to find the best version of ourselves. And it looks like, you know, all these little pieces fighting, and then you go down deeper, and it's all the same thing, connected to the same brain, the same heart. And yeah, and I can hear the voices saying, I'm apologist for the Chinese. I'm not an apologist for the Chinese. They say, look honestly at the Chinese, and they have their issues and their agendas too. And so does Putin, and so does everyone, you know. So how can we individually make our personal goals noble ones that will enhance life, and our practices and the way we live and how we treat everyone in our lives, from the dog that just stuck her nose on my knee, I'm wearing shorts by the way, to the people in power and areas of influence that we abhor. How could we extend wisdom, compassion, and skillfulness to those? I'm working on it, okay? And so are others. So let's not give up on ourselves. Let's not fall into cynicism, okay, which is a whole pathological thing that you can get into, and it's understandable. It's understandable. Sometimes it's easier just to laugh everything off as silly and make fun of it, and you know, there's nothing to be done. It's just the nature of things. Well, there's plenty to be done. So anyway, just you guys hold me in your hearts and your prayers, and we will continue. WeAwake folks here doing the best that we can, and we're all WeAwake folks that we joined this practice and join, you know, the larger circle, all meditators and prayers, and people who are even people who aren't even there yet but are thinking about something is missing in their lives. There's something greater they're searching for. I heard this new generation, Gen Z, is having a really hard time finding a reason to be alive, okay? And finding a reason to show up. And anyway, we're all in this together, and it's not that generation against this generation. It's like at different times in our life, we have different roles. So for those of us who are getting more mature, help us to become wise, functional elders who can manifest our own behaviors in our own lives and our own compassion. That wisdom is a noble goal, and we should all strive to achieve it. And as my friend Roger Walsh once said, that spiritual progress happens one body length at a time. Okay, and it's probably all evolutionary and cultural and intellectual progress the same way. So we fall on our faces, we get up. Fall on our faces, get up. In my case, I think I fall twice and get up. Then I have to jump out. Anyway, it's been quite a journey, and I have probably made almost every major mistake in the book on the way there, right? And the way to where I am today. Talk about Parsifal, the young fool. That was me into middle age, etc. But there was a part of me that was always trying, always picking myself up, always pulling back from that dark door of self-annihilation, and realized that there was something inside of me, something outside of me that was pulling me to something higher, better, and more beautiful. Okay, so I think that's about enough. So anyway, thank you very much for being here again. And I don't plan a lot for these talks. They just come straight from my heart. And that's probably the, if there's any virtue, there's that. And if there's, if it's problematic, it's that. So thank you for being here. And we will keep doing this as long as we can, and as long as we're supposed to. And yeah, if you think people would like to be a part of this and join and try this technology out that might help them, or they're interested in such things, let them know, because this is what we do. All right. Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone.